What are the doubts?
That he doesn't have it. He doesn't have the charisma. He's stiff as a board. He's a klutz. He dropped a trophy. He's not articulate enough. He doesn't have it.
Still young.
Sure, but I'm
That's
saying
the
these are
thing,
the
too.
doubts.
Yeah.
He's young. He doesn't have the gravitas.
Right.
The wife's maybe not super into it. I don't know.
Right.
These are the doubts.
Right.
These are the doubts you got to overcome if you want to win.
All right. If not him, who else is it?
MTG.
For real?
For realsies. She's surprisingly weirdly capable. She's kind of a tough bitch. She ran a construction company, all this stuff. She's going to be able to go out there and say, America first, not Israel first. There's not enough daylight between him and Trump on Israel. MTG is going to take advantage of that. That's my guess. Get on the train.
So Marjorie Taylor Greene was on the Tim Dillon show this past weekend, and she has a lot of people asking, is she the real future of the right in this country? And before we get into the video today, I know a lot of you might be saying, Matt, why do you only ever cover podcasts? And to that I'd say, shut up, imaginary critic in my head. Podcasts are super popular. They're so popular, in fact, that they dramatically swayed the outcome of the last presidential election. Also, I just really like podcasts, and I listen to a lot of them, so you're just gonna get that here. Now, much like my video's last subject, Nick Fuentes, I was mostly ignorant to Marjorie Taylor Greene. I didn't really know much about her. I pretty much just knew her as that crazy Republican lady who says wacky stuff.
What is the wackiest shit that she's ever said?
I don't know, something about the Jews and the weather, but let's be honest, who knows what they're doing?
We're going to get into that later in the video. However, in the run-up to the potential war with Iran, and additionally our growing noticing of Israel's involvement in everything in our country, Marjorie Taylor Greene's been saying some pretty badass things. And for me, this Tim Dillon appearance was the first time I'd ever really heard her talk at length, and I gotta say, I really like what she had to say. I agreed with most of her points, and she seemed to pretty much just dispense with the bullshit. But there was one controversial clip that was going around today on X, so let's start with that first.
I have to say, oh boy, do I want to deport any illegal criminal like that.
Right.
That's horrific.
Yeah.
Horrific. And having a secure border, oh hell yeah. Unapologetically.
Yeah.
Yes. Immigration laws, you have to follow our immigration laws. However, let's be in reality for a minute.
Yeah.
The reality in America is for decades and decades and decades, it's been whatever administration turned a blind eye. Even Ronald Reagan
Big time.
changed it.
Big time.
My goodness. California
Republicans
turned
wanted cheap
right.
labor and yeah.
Yes. And so we have, and I own a construction company.
Right.
So I'm going to speak from very real experience. We have a labor force in America across many industries that has been built on illegal labor. That's a fact. That also cannot be ignored. We can build an off-ramp there. And as a conservative and as a business owner in the construction industry and as a realist, I can say we have to do something about labor, and that needs to be a smarter plan than just rounding up every single person and deporting them just like that.
I don't really know how I feel about that. I mean, I don't feel like it's super controversial. I think the right and the pro-MAGA people are trying to make it out like she's sold out. She's a Democrat now, which if you listen to that interview, that is 100% not the case. But there is something there where it's kind of like, I could see why they would get upset at it. But there's a human point in there that is kind of like, look, you said criminals first, and we definitely have not been doing just that. Personally, I feel like if you're here illegally, you know, it's your obligation to become legal. Yeah, we've had a de facto state where you can just be illegal, but, you know, that was not right. And you could see for a long time that the lead up that this was gonna change. The growing sentiment in the country was like, we're done with this. And it was obvious that Trump was gonna be president. So if you didn't start getting your ducks in order and get certified as a citizen, I only have so much sympathy for you. But that being said, there was kind of like this, you know, social acceptance that we just weren't throwing people out of the country illegally. So I understand it. I think what Tim is really getting after is that there's a lot of public pushback on it, and you will lose support if there's too many viral clips, or even just one potentially devastating viral clip of, old grandmother crying, being separated from her grandkids. Like, you can really lose support with even people who voted for this. So I get what she's saying, and I also understand why people might suggest it's duplicitous because she owns a construction company and she's just looking out for her own interests. But like, how many illegal migrants could she possibly hire that she's like, no, I'm going to affect policy so that the 14 workers I employ, that I can still hire them? It's like, probably not, dude. For me, this isn't really that big of a deal. Laura Loomer posted it, and apparently they have some beef going back, which is like, oh God. It's like, I'm in the middle of a girl fight, gay. Make of that what you will, but I did think she said some absolutely awesome things in this interview, so let's play one of those clips.
But here's the most interesting thing. These other foreign countries, they're not taking our members of Congress on trips that last for weeks on August recess periods. That's not happening.
I guess they should start.
Seems
effective.
They may be, that's the
Seems-
pushback. Is all these other countries, they spend a lot more money on lobbying Congress, but I'm like, yeah, but Israel's the only one really coming out, getting our military to fight all their wars for them.
Whoa! Hell yeah! I have never heard a member of Congress admit that out loud. I've never heard anyone say that. No, I'm sure like Ron Paul, Rand Paul, probably Thomas Massey, the libertarians, I imagine, have pointed that out. I've never heard that admitted out loud. In fact, I still feel like it's considered like a conspiracy theory. It's like, oh no, we didn't fight Iraq for Israel. Spoiler alert, we absolutely did. But to hear her just candidly throw that out, like it's just a matter of fact, was like, yo, I think I like her.
I've never been given any AIPAC money.
Wow.
So I didn't get invited on the super duper special Israel trips.
Did you see that? What is it, 250 people?
It happens every.
Yeah, it was recently. They had one for like 200 people or something.
It's in August.
Oh, it's in August. Okay.
It's a routine
Get
trip.
us on that.
It's a routine trip. When you get elected as a member of Congress, if AIPAC approves of you and they've been donating to you and you're one of their candidates, which is most members of Congress, they take you to Israel. Okay, so just so you know,
Yeah.
every August, that's our August recess. That's the 1 month where we're not here in Washington, D.C. We go back to our districts. It's
Right.
called a district work period. It's a time to get back in your district, back to the people that voted for you, work in your office. For the love of God, see your family and friends,
Right.
be a normal human a little bit.
Right.
But that's when they take them to Israel, is during our 1 month.
Is this every year?
It's every other year.
Every other year.
Now they take
Interesting.
all the new freshmen that come in because we're elected every 2 years. So every other
Yeah.
year, every 2 years is a whole new pack of members of Congress. But not just the freshmen go, a whole bunch of existing members of Congress go on the trips, and they have a Democrat trip and a Republican trip.
Congress people, Democrats and Republicans, are there all the time, hearing from the prime minister and the Israeli government about how to better advocate for Israel in America.
Absolutely. They all come back with the same talking points. The reason why we have to continue to give them $3.8 billion every single year, because it's for their defense. We have to fund their Iron Dome. But by the way, Israel has, they have state-funded healthcare. They have state-funded education, college education.
Okay, to be fair, this clip is a tad misleading. She's not lying, but the impression that I got was almost like we do our August recess for Congress and like we do it around Israel's schedule. That's not accurate. Historically, we've always broke Congress in August, going back to like the foundation of this country, because back then it was just super balls ass hot, and they just were like, we can't do this, so they would go home and be with their families or whatever. And it was formalized, I think, in 1970. Did I write that down? Yeah, in 1970. And the AIPAC Israel trips didn't start until 1983. So it's not like a direct correlation as if like, we just build Congress around these Israel trips. They do happen, but it's not. I got the different impression when I first heard that clip. And she kind of made it sound like everyone goes. And that's not really true either. It's usually less than 20%. But as MTG, which I'm gonna call her now, points out, is that they're preying on like the freshman congressman to like get them into the Israel cause. And yes, they may be our ally, but they are also a foreign nation. We don't have organized trips to any other of our allies. We don't go to like France or Japan or Qatar every other year. And speaking of Qatar, the people online, these sort of like pro-war people, the pro-Israel people, they always make accusations of people like Tucker Carlson, like, oh, he's paid by Qatar, he's paid by Qatar, and they act all appalled. Meanwhile, our congressmen are actually provably bought and paid for by a foreign nation, namely Israel. But you don't seem to mind all that because that supports your agenda.
I hate politics so much, Tim.
You said it, sister.
By permanently banning my free speech, no one changed my mind. As a matter of fact,
Right.
I got deeper ingrained in it.
Right.
And I got more radicalized in it. And I would not refuse to wear a mask on the House floor. And Nancy Pelosi fined me $2,500 every single day that I walked on the House floor not wearing a mask.
I know that COVID isn't one of the hottest topics right now, but that is gangster as hell, in my opinion, because like that's under Biden. We don't know where this is going. I know that the country, we all kind of felt like a seismic shift, but I was streaming on YouTube during COVID and it was scary because like you didn't know what was going to get taken down. You didn't know if your whole channel was going to get dropped because you said something against the narrative. And there she is on the floor of the House of the seat of government. She's right there just being like, no, I'm not doing it. Find me. Go ahead. It's pretty badass.
My concern is like this country.
We're not contractually
Right.
obliged either.
Right.
Ukraine's not a NATO member nation.
Right.
They're not even in NATO.
Right.
We don't have to defend Ukraine.
Right.
So there's no reason.
Right.
But yet somehow it's the most important thing that we've got to get involved in. And
Little seems
that
like a
that's
big,
disturbing to
yeah.
me. And the other thing is we've spent sent tons and tons of money over there, but there's a bunch of extremely wealthy Ukrainians that all have incredible homes and cars and countries like France and other European countries. And I find that to be pretty sickening. Our own tax dollars were used not only to pay Ukrainian government pensions,
Right.
to bail out small businesses, Ukrainian small businesses, when American small businesses were going out of business because of COVID lockdowns.
Right.
The whole thing is insulting.
Yeah. The whole thing seems absurd.
And
Yeah.
but why are we told that we have to fix that war? We don't have to fix that war at all. And why in any way am I a bad representative of Georgia, by the way? Why am I bad if I really don't care what happens to their territory and who gets it and how it works out?
Yeah.
How does that make me bad?
The people of Georgia.
But
I
at the
don't
same time,
believe-
yeah.
Right.
But at the same time, I'm really, really, really angry that my district can't get the appropriations because Mike Johnson wants to pass a CR every other month, it seems like. We can't bring tax dollars back to my district.
Yeah, like, let's go. I mean, I think we've all gotten a little sick of playing, cop to the whole world and trying to run the world empire. We suck at it, by the way. It very, very rarely works out in our favor, and it just drains the country's bank accounts. Like, why do we have to care? Especially, I live in Texas, right? Like, when I saw that Tucker interview with Ted Cruz, and he's talking about, oh, when I came to Congress, my number one concern was to be the biggest advocate for Israel. I'm like, what? You're a senator for Texas. Advocate for Texas, you fucking sellout. And she's being there like, wait, why do we even have to do this? And why am I a bad person that I don't want to? I'm trying to represent the people of Georgia, not the people of the Ukraine or Russia or wherever. It's like, yeah, fucking A.
Okay, let's take health insurance, for example. I'm a conservative, and I can say we're $37 trillion in debt. We cannot afford a socialized healthcare plan in America. We literally cannot. But at the same time, I can say we sent almost $300 billion to Ukraine. We sent $30 billion to Israel in 2024 alone. I can say we definitely should extend these ACA tax credits, and we need to build an off-ramp because it'll cost $30 billion a year to do it. we can build an off ramp and open up a new system
You're
that will
talking about
serve
the
every
Affordable Care
American.
Act.
Yeah.
Right.
So my conservative friends will say, Marjorie, no, we cannot do that. We cannot spend that money on that. But I'm not willing to allow millions of Americans, people I personally know, constituents in my district, I'm not willing to allow their premiums to double and triple overnight starting in January of 2026. I'm willing to say, no, we're going to have to, we're going to have to fund it, but we're going to have to build an off ramp and build into a new system. And that's not me being a socialist. That's not me going against my conservative values. That's saying, stop sending the money to all these foreign countries and let's actually spend it on Americans and actually fix the system.
So this was another controversial clip that was going around because it does sound like, in a way, she's advocating for socialized medicine, which I think we all understand will end up just costing even more money because we do have a version of that and it sucks and it costs us so much. I'm not an advocate for the welfare state kind of at all. I'd really like to get rid of almost all of it because it's like just dragging the country down. And really all it ends up doing is just like raising prices. And her point about, we send $300 billion to Ukraine, but we can't get health care for us. It's like, well, if we're going to spend the money, we might as well spend it on health care for Americans. And I understand that's not a real solution. I totally get that. But, we give all that money to Israel and it's like, they have free education, they have free health care, and it's like, so we're paying for their health care instead of our own. And as Trump pointed out, the reason we have such outrageous drug prices in this country is not because the drug actually costs that much. No, it's because these drug companies sell to other, like the European Union, and they set the price. The European Union says, oh, we're not paying more than this. And then like, what are the drug companies going to do? Not sell to them? They're like, oh, okay, that's the price. Well, they make up the lack of profit on us. So when you buy like a drug out of pocket, like my ex-girlfriend had to get these eye drops and they were something like, it was like $800 every refill and it only lasted like a few weeks or a month. And it's like $800 per little bottle of eye drops. It's like, simply because we're just subsidizing the EU's low healthcare costs and then also Israel's. And it's like, if we're gonna spend the money, we, the American people, should be the beneficiaries. It's our fucking money. So my takeaways from this interview is I'm like, she seems to actually genuinely care about the American people, does truly put like America first, making America great again, not making Israel great again or solving all the world's problems. It's like, look, if we have to do it, I'm glad that Trump is advocating and achieving peace. Great. That is a huge difference from all the past administrations of the past like 80 years. Like that's fantastic as a development. But, I like what she's saying. Now, earlier in the video, I mentioned that in her past, she had said some crazy things, and that is accurate. So we should talk about that.
Hey everybody, Future Matt here. As I was editing this video, I realized that the controversies and crazy statements portion of this video really deserves its own upload, so that's exactly what it's going to be. Keep an eye out in the next few days, it should be up.